Hey everyone, Eugene here. Hope you're all well. Got some new cellophane in I wanted to share with you guys. Just picked up a few new things in the last little while that are not Guerlain. So I know I've gotten a couple of comments regarding my channel heading towards Guerlain, and just to show that I am still enjoying and wearing and purchasing things other than Guerlain, I'm going to share just a few things here. Not everything that I've purchased since my last haul, but I figure that that'd be an extremely long video, and I just don't have the time for that right now. But these are things that I've picked up recently and I have been enjoying quite a bit. So this is the cellophane to a 200 ml Les Exclusifs EDP concentration. I know there's been a lot of debate online, a lot of arguing back and forth, EDP versus EDT. And for the most part, I'd agree, yes, the pricing to the EDT is much better and more to my preference. But as far as concentrations go, I can't say I'm entirely convinced that the EDTs are that much better. And it's just my opinion. I've had a chance to sample both, not completely everything, but a lot of the new EDPs. And I can't say I'm very disappointed. So much so that I've actually gone out and I've picked up a few myself. This here is 200 ml Sycomore. My first ever Les Exclusive when I got to know them back a few years ago was Sycomore EDT. I just completely fell in love with it. I was head over heels for Sycomore. That woody green vetiver fragrance. And it was a 75 ml bottle. And I did end up selling it, regrettably. Now I do kind of regret it now that they're out of production. But the reason I sold it was I just had trouble picking up the scent itself. It didn't perform very well on me. You know, after an hour, I struggled to smell anything. And it's not something, it wasn't a perfume that I was willing to invest 8 or 10 hours into, you know, to bring to work and wear with me all day long when I couldn't smell it. So I ended up selling it. And when the new EDPs came out, I decided to give it a shot. I got some samples and, you know, like hitting a brick wall, I just instantly fell in love with it again. So I went out and I purchased it. And I'm not hating on the EDT at all. I think it's an excellent fragrance. I can't even say, you know, it might have performed for some of you out there. For me, it didn't perform. Maybe I didn't give it enough a chance or an opportunity, but this one here performs amazingly on me. I absolutely love it. Very woody, smoky, dry, creamy sandalwood. This to me is more woody than it is about vetiver. A little bit of incense going on in here. A little bit of sweetness. I pick up quite a bit of caramel in here, and it's a very nice added touch. A little bit of sawdusty. I think it's a beautiful fragrance. Sycomore. But like I said, price-wise, it's almost 90 Canadian dollars above the EDT, which sucks, yes, of course. But, I mean, if you are concerned about concentrations, I can't say this is much different than the EDT. I'm finding most of them are very similar. The biggest difference to me is the opening 10 minutes. This might be a little bit safer, minus the aldehydes, but generally, these Chanels are so classy and, you know, they're subtle and clean. If you are looking for something challenging, it's probably not the brand for you. You're probably better off looking at something like the Dior Privies or even Amouage or some kind of niche indie house. But I have heard that these have been made to be a little bit safer and I can't even say challenging because I don't find any of them challenging. But it kind of makes sense because when I first started to look for these exclusives, there's only 1 or 2 places in all of Canada that are selling them. And now they're selling them in the hometown where I grew up, just 15 minutes away from here. So they're much more easily accessible than they were just a couple of years ago. So that's Sycomore EDP. Picked up one more Les Exclusive. This was just yesterday. I actually went in looking for Bois de Ile EDP. Again, fell in love with my sample. And at the last moment, I just kind of asked the SA if they had anything left in the EDTs. And she had one bottle left of 1932, which oddly enough had no cellophane on it. So it was already open, unboxed, unpackaged, but it was never sprayed. The bottle was filled to the top. The sprayer pumped nothing. You can actually see the only place on the bottle that lists the concentration is on the back of this sticker. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but there you go. It says, you can see the O there, Eau de Toilette, if you look really closely. And that's the only place that'll say the concentration. Here we have just a little bit of information. But after testing 1932 and Eau de Parfum and the Eau de Toilette, the biggest difference, again, is in the opening. The Eau de Parfum seemed a little bit more powdery. The fruity pear was a little bit more prominent. And to me, I almost thought I was wearing a Dior Homme Intense flanker. Wasn't very familiar to the 1932 EDT, but ultimately, the base and the dry down, they're pretty much the same fragrance to me. So I did pick up the Eau de Toilette just because it was almost $100 cheaper, but I have no problem whatsoever going for the Eau de Parfum, which I can't even say for sure, but I think that it lasts a little bit better. I get excellent performance from the Eau de Toilette. I have no problems with performance. It's an amazing summer scent. Not something I'd reach for in colder weather, but just a beautiful fragrance. I get a lot of, there's pear in here. It's aldehydic. It's woody. A beautiful jasmine note. Some citrus. A lot of clean musk coming from some vegetable musk. Ambrette seed. 1932. Excellent warm weather summer fragrance from Chanel Exclusives. Okay, as far as Chanel goes, that's all I've got. I've picked up a couple of Frederic Malle's, another favorite house of mine. And here is the newest. This is Superstitious. This is in collaboration with Albert Elbaz. X from, used to do some work with Landon. So they did collaborate. Frederic Malle is a huge fan of Albert Elbaz and his fashion. His wife wore a lot of his clothes, so he always had his eye on Albert. And when they got to meet up, they discussed on creating this fragrance. And this is a very big, bold, aldehydic floral perfume. It's very loud. It's extremely loud. It's all about aldehydes. There's some fruity peach in here, jasmine, rose, and patchouli. First time I smelt this was in Montreal. We spent Easter weekend in Montreal, and I didn't want to spend too much time running around perfume shops as I was there with my family, but we ended up walking by this one perfume shop, and I just told him, sit here on the street corner for me, wait for me for 5 minutes. I just did a quick tour inside when I saw this. I smelled it for the first time. They didn't have it in Toronto at that time, but the sales associate was great enough to make me a sample. I wore it 3 days straight. First time I wore it, I kind of struggled with picking out, or actually finding the complexity in here. I thought it was kind of basic and simple and not really worth the money, but by the third day, I was absolutely obsessed with it, and it's something I knew I was going to eventually have sooner or later. But almost like a throwback scent to, an era from long ago. A lot of aldehydes. Something that would be reminiscent would be Chanel's number 22. And even 31 Rue Cambon. It's almost like if you were to take those two fragrances and layer them I would get a lot of similarities in this. Quite musky in the base. The patchouli really comes out. In the warm weather, the patchouli gets kind of rubbery and earthy on me. I don't pick up too much rose yet, but I get a lot more jasmine, musk, a lot of aldehydes, and peach. So beautiful. I'm absolutely obsessed with Superstitious right now. I love it. For any Frederic Malle fan, I think this is a must have. And I've also picked up one more collaboration, Frederic Malle. This is his other collaboration. This is with Dries van Notten. And the fragrance is simply known as Dries van Notten. And I don't even know the notes to this. I've looked at them several times and I can't even make them out. The only thing I can really pick up is the sandalwood, but I thought it was mostly sandalwood and cinnamon, this fragrance. There's no cinnamon listed anywhere online, but it is quite spicy and it's soft and warm. And what this kind of reminds me is of, if you have ever smelled those baby cookies, kind of those oatmeal cereal cookies that a baby's been eating and barfed out after, because it does get quite sour. I know it sounds kind of gross, but it's really lovely. Barfed out baby cookies. That's pretty much what I get. It's got a lot of wood notes in here. Obviously, it's sandalwood. I don't know what else I can say. It's really lovely. I've worn it a couple times since I've had it. I've had it for a few weeks, and beautiful fragrance. I've got a couple of older releases here from Frederic Malle. This here is Le Parfum de Therese. This was created by Edmund Rudnitska in the mid-1950s solely for his wife, and she wore this for 50 years without anyone ever else having access to this perfume. It was created solely for her, and when Edmund passed away in, I think it was the late 1990s, his wife wanted to share this, so she collaborated with Frederic Malle and released this out to a public. And this is basically a fruity chypre, which is great for spring. I've been wearing it a couple times in this warmer weather. It's actually really gone really crap right now. It's rainy and dark and gray. But aldehydes, again, it seems like aldehydes are coming back in a big way, which makes me really happy. I love aldehydes. So we got aldehydes in here, some fruit, leather, quite powdery, musky. Lasts a long time on me, surprisingly. Tried it a few years back and I really liked it and I wanted to get it, but I wasn't getting great longevity, so I just picked this up now. And I know a lot of people are talking about, you know, the Estee Lauder takeover of Frederic Malle. They're really going to, you know, change these perfumes and make them less long-lasting, but I haven't really found that to be the case. But one perfume that I have picked up that has faced a reformulation has been Une Rose de Cassie. And if you've watched my video I did, maybe I was a few years back, 5 perfumes I'd love to buy. This was on that list. I think this is the 4th out of the 5 perfumes that I want to buy. I'm still missing one. But I explain this as the smell of anal sex. It's basically, yeah, don't make me go there, but it has that poo accord. Not anymore, but originally it was very floral. It was musky. It was dirty. The first time I wore it, it really, it was gross, but in a really cool way. And it literally brought me to my knees and made me sick. But I got quite addicted to it. And for some reason, I could never buy it. And even though I wanted to, I think it's a complete masterpiece. One of the greatest perfumes ever created. And I'm not just saying that, but I really mean it. And this perfume is quite different. It's minus that sexual accord, but it is still very challenging And basically it's mousse on cassie and wood. It's quite salty and dry. It's not for every day. It's probably not safe for work still. I've worn it to work a couple of times. I can't help it. I love wearing nasty things to work, but it is much easier to wear than the original formulation. Even though I'd still love to get a bottle of the original formulation, I knew this was quite different, and I was happy to get this one when I did purchase it. Here's the last one I've got, or I'm going to show you, and it actually is a Guerlain. I couldn't make a video without Guerlain. And this is one of the newest releases. This is the Sport, which I'm not crazy about any fragrance with a Sport name. They're basically fresh and clean and should only be used in the gym or playing sports. I'd never wear this or invest, 8 to 10 hours in wearing this to work. Or I've worn it around the house twice, maybe after a shower before going to bed. Just something light. It's very airy and it's not very heavy at all. It's quite fruity. There is that almond accord in there that the L'Homme line is known for, but musky. I mean, it's nice, but it is rather generic for Guerlain, so I can't even say I'm disappointed, but it's not something that I would, urge anybody to run out and purchase either. It's not the best sport fragrance that I've smelled, but it's definitely not the worst either, so L'Homme Ideal Sport. Anyway, that's pretty much been my cellophane haul. So if you guys got any questions, let me know. EDTs versus EDPs. I know somebody's going to comment that the EDTs are superior. You're totally entitled to your opinion, but I hope you've at least tried the eau de parfums before you just assume that the EDTs are that much better. Anyway, glad that you can watch, and we'll see you again soon.